You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN E-mini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things E-mini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Tuesday, 28th day of April, 2026. Thanks so much for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. Here's the story at high noon, and it's a useful one. Despite what you see on the charts, the market is not collapsing. It's just getting a little more honest. This morning, the Dow is hanging in there, but the S&P is red, and the NASDAQ is taking the bigger hit. Why? Well, because the high-flying AI trade is finally meeting something called gravity. How many times have you heard me use that word on this broadcast over the last couple of weeks? Gravity is a fact. You can't deny it. You can't escape it. And here it is. Chip names and mega cap tech are under pressure after fresh questions around OpenAI's growth. And in this market that matters because so much of the optimism has been built on that same AI narrative. At the same time, oil is back up hard. Brent is over $110, and the crude we trade, WTI, is pressing the century mark. And of course, the reason is simple. Iran is back in the center of the story, and the market does not like uncertainty around the Strait of Hormuz. In fact, the market doesn't like uncertainty, period. Higher oil prices means renewed inflation pressure, and renewed inflation pressure means Wall Street has to think twice about its easy money fantasies. So what is working? Defensive names, staples, energy, the grown-up parts of the market. Coca-Cola is higher after earnings, and that tells you something right there. When the tape gets nervous, cash flow, dividends, and real businesses start looking beautiful again. On the news side, conservatives have plenty to watch today. A Fox poll showing Republicans still lead on border security, immigration, crime, and national security. Senate Republicans moving a blueprint to fund ICE and Border Patrol, and more scrutiny on the way that the media and the left talk about political violence. So the theme today is pretty straightforward. Reality is back in the room, in markets, in energy, and in politics. And honestly, that is where serious people ought to live. Once again, thanks for joining us today. We do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. The first broadcast is our live training room. That is reserved for members only and those taking their 1-week free trial. This broadcast, on the other hand, is open to the public. Everybody, everywhere on planet Earth, with an internet-connected device. There's two different ways to join this afternoon broadcast live. The best way, you only have to do it once. Go to mytradingiq.com. Scroll down the page to where it says Noon Broadcast. Click the link, fill out the 30-second registration form, and you're done. What will happen going forward is every trading day you'll get an email about an hour before this broadcast starts. In the email there will be a link. So at 12 noon Eastern, all you have to do is click the link in the email and it'll automatically log you into our platform. The benefit there is you have immediate access to the question box so that you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. Now, there will be days when you're out of the office, away from your desktop, but you still want to join live. And some days you'll be busy, so you can't join live, but you want to get caught up later. You can do both of those via our YouTube channel, which is easy to remember. youtube.com/CFRN. That's the Christian Financial Radio Network since 2005. Not only do we broadcast live on our YouTube channel, as we're doing right now, simulcasting, but we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there's over 3,000 daily episodes archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. Now, if you're new to our neck of the woods, it's also a great way to get to know who we really are. Thanks to the power of YouTube, you can scroll back 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, even more, a lot more. And obviously, you're not going to watch them all, nor do you need to. But it's a great resource to have at your fingertips because it allows you to see how we've evolved over all these years, day by day by day. youtube.com/CFRN. On the left side of the screen, you'll see our schedule for each afternoon broadcast. Top of the hour, 1 p.m. Eastern, Michael will join us for a recap of what happened this morning in the live training room, and then do a little bit of live trading as time and the markets permit. Right now, we're going to jump into where we start each and every day with our daily devotional. The topic we're currently on is everyday faith. Today's scripture is James 1, verses 2 through 4 from the NIV translation. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. Again, that was James 1, verses 2 through 4. Paul asked for removal. God answered with sufficiency. There are places in your life right now you would gladly eliminate. A weakness that embarrasses you, a limitation that humbles you, a situation that has lasted longer than you expected. You pray, and you pray hard for it to disappear. But what if Christ is not distant in that place? What if he is choosing to meet you right there? Grace is not always an explanation. It can and often is strength given within weakness. Self-reliance grows strong in smooth seasons. It's easy when you're on the mountaintop. Food in the fridge, money in the bank, gas in the tank. It's in the valleys where we struggle. Dependence is formed in struggles. If the thorn vanished tomorrow, would reliance vanish with it? Maturity is not the absence of difficulty. It is the steady awareness that Christ's power rests on you precisely where you feel insufficient. You may not celebrate the struggle, but you can surrender within it. Surrender is not passive resignation. It's simply handing everything to God and just stepping back. It is yielding while keeping your eyes fixed on Jesus. In the midst of the challenge, in the uncertainty, in the ongoing tension. To surrender rightly is to keep looking at Him, even if the challenges don't disappear. Then over time, something shifts. Not because the struggle vanished, but because your vision remained steady. And you're able to say with integrity, not denial, dear brothers and sisters, when troubles of any kind come your way, consider it an opportunity for great joy. Not because pain is pleasant, but because Christ is present. Question: are you resisting the very place Christ may be trying to strengthen you? Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we pray today that your grace would be sufficient in what cannot be removed. Grant strength in you wherever we feel weak in our lives. It's in Jesus' name we believe and pray. And everybody said, amen. Amen and happy Tuesday. Let me give you the numbers from around the world. Now again, the markets aren't collapsing. We're just getting a dose of reality. Remember, we're in earnings season. And I'll be sharing some news articles with you all about that. So, starting here in the U.S. with the cash markets, or the indices as they're called, the Dow up 109 points. Well, that's not so bad, you say. But the Nasdaq's down 318. That's over 1.25%. S&P 500 is down 47. And the Russell 2000, our man in the street, is down 36. That one concerns me. That's, I mean, not concern, but yeah, you know what I mean. 36 points for the Russell. That's a little over 1.25%. In the commodity basket, crude oil, WTI crude, the one we trade, up $3.91, trading 99.88 last. That's a gain of over 3.5%. Gold down again today, $95.70, trading 45.98 last. That's a drop of over 2%. Silver down $1.98, trading 73.04 last. That's a drop of over 2.5%. In the Asian markets, at the close, the Nikkei fell 619 points, 1%. The Shanghai dropped 7. And the Hang Seng fell 245, just shy of 1%. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE up 11, The DAX down 65, the CAC down 37. So we had a red day in Asia. It was a mixed day for the UK. And at the moment, it is a mixed Radio Tuesday here in the US of A. And the king is coming to town. Not the king, but King Charles III and his lovely Queen Camilla. They landed in Maryland yesterday for their 4-day tour. The visit is the first by a British monarch to the U.S. since 2007, and Charles' first since his 2022 coronation. The trip honors the 250th anniversary of U.S. independence and reinforces the country's so-called special relationship. Experts say the visit could strengthen the following rifts over Israel, Iran, Pakistan, and the economic impact of U.S. tariffs. The tour comes months after President Donald Trump's unprecedented second state visit to the UK covered similar ground. First on the agenda was a military reception and tea at the White House before a garden party at the home of the British ambassador. Today, King Charles will speak before a joint session of Congress. This is the second time in history a British royal will do so, after, of course, his mother passing in 1991. How many of you remember Dragnet? That was real TV, right? Remember Joe Friday? Anyway, the Supreme Court yesterday considered whether police can access cell phone location data, potentially shaping how millions of Americans' movements are tracked. A ruling is expected sometime this summer. After witness interviews and security footage produced no leads in a 2019 Virginia bank robbery, officials obtained a warrant requiring Google to share data on devices within a 150-meter radius of the bank 30 minutes before and after the crime. That data led to Okello Chatri, who is currently serving 12 years in prison. His lawyers argued the warrant was overly broad, violating Fourth Amendment protections against unreasonable searches. The government, however, says anyone who voluntarily shares their location with tech companies has no expectation of privacy. It's sort of like when you put your trash out on the curb. Now, if somebody came in your house and looked through your trash, that would be illegal. But once you put it out on the curb, it's anybody's trash. That's why you should use a shredder. About 4 in 5 U.S. adults report enabling location sharing on their devices, which companies like Google, Apple, and Uber use to give personalized search results, weather updates, and other location-based services. How does your phone know where you are in the first place? Well, it's satellite technology. Meta yesterday, now this is big, and I mean real big. Hang on a second. Hang on a second. All right, sorry about that. This is big, so please listen up. Meta yesterday announced a deal with startup Overview Energy to purchase solar power collected by satellite and beamed back to Earth. An experimental approach that could power data centers at night. Unlike traditional solar power, which relies on storing daylight, space-based solar power aims to deliver continuous energy. Overview Energy plans to deploy satellites over 22,000 miles from Earth's equator, where they would collect and transmit infrared energy to solar panels. The test is scheduled for 2028, with a commercial rollout in 2030. Meta is seeking up to 1 gigawatt of power from the project, underscoring its energy needs for AI. In 2024, Meta's data centers consumed 18,000 times the electricity that this deal would deliver in a single hour. This is beyond a game changer. The idea of harvesting solar power from space was first imagined in a 1941 short story and formally proposed by engineer Peter Glasser in 1968, but has remained mostly theoretical due to cost and complexity. So write this company name down: Overview Energy. Beaming electricity from space around the clock. How do we get a piece of Overview Energy? I haven't had a time to figure that out yet. But just as I did with SpaceX, I'm going to do it with Overview Energy. And I'll bring to you whatever I find out in the days to come. All right, turn to Wall Street. Oracle, AMD, CoreWeave, and other AI-driven names sank today. Oracle and CoreWeave led the losses down 4% and 5% respectively. Investors sold off shares of companies tied to OpenAI after the Wall Street Journal reported the AI developer recently missed sales and user targets, renewing concerns about all this AI spending that's going on. Citing people familiar with the matter, the report said the startup fell short of its internal goal of 1 billion weekly active users for OpenAI's ChatGPT by year-end. It also reportedly missed its annual revenue target for the product. Meanwhile, Google's competing AI bot Gemini grew over the past year, eating into OpenAI's market share. Shares of companies with partnerships in OpenAI, including cloud and software giant Oracle and data center provider CoreWeave, were under pressure. Chip makers AMD and NVIDIA also declined. As you know, tomorrow is FOMC day, and it's likely to mark Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell's last policy meeting and press conference as chair of the central bank. Less clear, though, is whether Powell will remain on the board as a governor. His term as chair ends next month on the 15th, but Powell could continue as a governor until 2028. Members of the Fed are nominated by the president and confirmed by the Senate for 14-year terms. Until last Friday, questions swirled about whether Powell's intended successor, Kevin Warsh, would be in place by the May 15 deadline. Republican Senator Tom Tillis of North Carolina was blocking Warsh's nomination from moving out of the Banking Committee as long as a Justice Department investigation into Powell remained unresolved. On Friday, U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, Jeanine Pirro, announced that the Justice Department was closing its investigation and handing it off to the Fed's Inspector General. On Sunday, Tillis told Meet the Press that he was now ready to support Warsh's confirmation. We anticipate that Chair Powell will want to see what happens before stepping down from the board, with the Inspector General's report the next likely key checkpoint. Powell himself has left the matter open. In a press conference in March, Powell said he had no intention of leaving the board until the investigation is well and truly over, with transparency and finality. Now, of course, this investigation is over the $2.5 billion he spent to renovate the Fed's headquarters. You could have tore the thing down and built a whole new palatial office building for less than $2.5 billion. Something's not right. But you know what? If all it costs the American taxpayer is $2.5 billion to get rid of Jerome Powell for good, you got my vote. 5 of the 7 members of the Magnificent Seven will report results this week. The most important number investors will get in these reports will come out tomorrow afternoon and will require just a bit of math. So we're going to get the Fed announcement at 2 o'clock. Then at 2:30, we're going to get the press conference with questions from the audience. Lots of volatility. And then after the close, I need to double check this, but I believe after the close tomorrow, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, and Google are all going to report. In January, these 4 hyperscalers announced plans to invest upward of $630 billion to fuel their AI ambitions, taking the high end of annual forecast from Alphabet and Meta, Amazon's full-year forecast, and annualizing Microsoft's latest spending. These 4 companies projected spending $670 billion this year. Whether this number rises or falls tells the whole story of how some of the biggest winners of the AI trade see the field right now. And they're not the only ones with problems. Spotify shares take 14% in early trading today. The digital music and streaming service missed its second quarter premium subscriber outlook. The company sees total premium subscribers coming in at 299 million versus an estimate of 300.29 million. That weaker forecast overshadowed a first quarter gain in premium paying customers and a revenue jump of 8.2%. Yet they're down $66 a share. Earlier this year, Spotify raised prices for its premium subscription, following hikes in prior years in a move to improve its bottom line. The stock is now down 25% year to date and more than 40% off its all-time high from last year, as investors have been resetting growth expectations. We had one high-impact econ report this morning. Consumer confidence reached its highest level so far this year. The overall consumer confidence index climbed to 92.8 in April, up from March's reading of 92.2, as consumer expectations for the job market and pay improved. The conference board noted that its survey period coincided with a temporary 2-week ceasefire in the U.S. conflict with Iran, which has since been extended indefinitely. See, consumers are confident, but the media, they want to downplay it. Now, I know this only affects a few of our listeners, but I'm going to share it anyway. Backers of a proposed tax on California billionaires say they have collected enough signatures to bring the measure to a statewide vote this fall. You talk about killing the goose that lays the golden egg. It's unbelievable. The Labor Union Service Employees International Union United Healthcare Workers West, that's a mouthful, says it is spearheading attacks on the state's ultra-wealthy to prevent hospital and clinic closures, protect healthcare jobs, and help fund K through 14 public education and state food assistance programs. Opponents say the tax would fuel an exodus of wealthy company founders and investors, spark job losses, and further weaken California's economy. You do not have to be a rocket scientist to figure this out. And this is big. The United Arab Emirates will leave a decade-old cartel of the world's top oil exporters, delivering a major blow to the group that will ripple through the global oil market at a time of unprecedented turmoil caused by the Iran war. The UAE plans to withdraw from OPEC this Friday. The decision also extends to OPEC Plus, a larger group that consists of other oil producers such as Russia. Turning to Capitol Hill, this is from Victor Davis Hanson. I'm sure many of you know who he is. We've had the third attempt on President Donald Trump's life, where shots were exchanged within 2 years. Recently, at the Correspondents' Dinner at the Hilton Hotel last Saturday evening, no president in U.S. history has been the object or the target of 3 assassination attempts in which shots were fired by either law enforcement or the shooter himself. So we've had Cole Thomas Allen, we've had Ryan Ruth, and we had Thomas Crooks on the roof in Butler. We also had a young man, Jonathan Odie, and he was the person who tried to break into Mar-a-Lago and kill Trump, and was killed himself by law enforcement. Trump was not at Mar-a-Lago, but what is building this up? What's the reason for all this? I'll give you some examples. One is Hassan Piker. He's sort of the Nick Fuentes of the left. He's an influencer, a podcaster, a commentator. He's a communist, and he's captivated the base of the left with his extreme anti-Israel, anti-Semitic, pro-Hamas, pro-ISIS Islamist rhetoric. And he had said more recently in an interview with the New Yorker and a New York Times reporter that it was fine to steal from the Louvre, steal from stores, according to his Marxist doctrine, that people must take what they need, given what he feels is the oppression of capitalism, the very thing that made this the greatest nation on the face of the earth. In case you haven't noticed, socialism and communism doesn't work anywhere, not no way, not no how. This guy is dangerous. I used to say Oprah Winfrey was the most dangerous woman on planet Earth. This Hassan Piker, he might be her +1. And last on the news front, a pro-illegal immigrant group received more than $8.7 million of your tax dollars in the year that it helped spark destructive protest, but despite outcry and probes from Washington, it faces no consequences. The Coalition for Human Immigration Rights, CHIRLA, reported the government grants in its latest tax filing covering July 24th through July of 2024 through June of 2025, the month that Los Angeles, California was set ablaze by anti-deportation writers. The chaos kicked off in June of 25 after CHIRLA created an anti-ICE network that led to a union leader's arrest and encouraged supporters to arrive at a federal building for a rally that turned violent. CHIRLA defended the mob as a rioting against deportations, and it spread across Central California for days and caused damages somewhere between $32 million and $1 billion. And they did it with your $8.7 million you paid in taxes. Somebody's got to dismantle these organizations, and somebody's got to kick these Hassan Pikers out of our country. It's an abomination, to say the least. All right, let's do Logic 247. That's our 24/7 around-the-clock E-mini alert service. It's not just E-minis, though. It's also crude, gold, and silver. Now, last week we ended up with a good week. Where is it? Right here. Last week we had a total of 74 alerts, 15 never triggered, 59 actionable alerts, only 4 stop outs, or 7%. This week, as of this morning when Valerie did the recap at 6:30 a.m. Eastern, since the markets opened Sunday night, we've issued a total of 28 alerts. At the time of the recap, we were still waiting on 7. I have a feeling, due to the sell-off, that many of those have now been resolved, and that will be reflected when she updates the recap this afternoon, as she does each afternoon. So at the time she did the recap this morning, this week so far, 21 actionable alerts, 1 stop out, 5%. Now the purpose of the logic alerts is to help you learn how to read a chart. Every alert has an entry price, long or short, an initial target designed to help you get your goal for the day. In most cases, additional targets, and always a final trade to target. If you never actually trade a logic alert, use them for the purpose intended so that you can learn to read the chart. You've got to know where to anticipate potential resistance, where to anticipate potential support. In doing so, you reveal the windows of opportunity that lie between, and that's where you're going to find your best high probability, low risk trade opportunities. Now the logic alerts can come out anytime around the clock, 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. Futures trade around the clock. We have traders around the globe. Their day session is our night session, and vice versa. Now 404 weeks is a long time, about 7.5 years, give or take. But many years before we introduced Logic 247, we had our original alert service, the concierge trade alerts. And they're different in a lot of different ways. But for the purpose of this discussion, I'll just say this. They don't come out around the clock like the logic alerts. They're typically posted 5 minutes ahead of the Globex open each evening. The Tuesday session that we're in right now started last night at 6 p.m. Eastern. Today, stocks will stop trading at 4, futures will stop trading at 5, and then at 6 o'clock tonight Eastern, the markets will reopen, and that will be the beginning of the Wednesday session. So what that means is all of our traders had all of these targets 5 minutes before the market opened last night. We're going to go through each one of these individual markets in granular fashion as we do every day. You'll see these targets drawn out on the charts. Just remember, our traders had those targets 5 minutes before the market opened. The S&P 500, the Dow, the Russell, crude oil, the NQ, gold, and silver. So let's go to the charts. And we'll start where we always do with the daily chart of the S&P 500 E-mini futures. This morning in the live training room, I shared with everyone we were sitting right on top of the black step line, potential support. We've now managed to trade through it. We're just off the low of the session. See that little tiny wick there? Okay, your next major support area is going to be the low of April 24th, 71.35 half. Next will be the low of the 23rd, which is 70.79 and a quarter. Then you've got this little area right here. You see how this candle has a wick sticking up, and the next day we got a wick sticking down? You put your crosshair right in the middle, 70.56. Now, that means potential support here, here, here. And then this is the 24% fib retracement. That's the shallowest possible fib retracement. That should be good for a nice bounce. It could reverse the market, but I doubt it. Given the current conditions, a good bounce is probably about all we can expect. Where's price really trying to get to? This green line right here. Price always reverts to the mean, whether you know it or not. I don't care what you trade or how you trade it. Price always reverts to the mean. In our case, the mean is green, and we call it the BBC. It just stands for bull bear cross. When price is below the green line, we're bearish and expect lower prices. When price is above the green line, we're bullish and expect higher prices. When the black step line crosses blue and climbing, we expect price to retrace back to the BBC. Price always reverts to the mean. If you take nothing else away from today's broadcast, or any broadcast I ever do, remember that. Price always reverts to the mean. There's no escaping it. It's like gravity. It just is. Now, all alerts are created on the 30-minute chart. There's nothing magic about 30 minutes. It's just a time frame I chose years ago. And they say if it's not broke, leave it alone. So I have. Now, the vertical line separates today, Tuesday, and here's Monday. The horizontal lines are the weekly trading zones. The weekly trading zones are published every Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. We publish the zones for our members every week for the last 16 plus years. When price drops to a weekly trading zone, we expect support until proven otherwise. When price rallies up to a weekly trading zone, we expect resistance until proven otherwise. When price encounters a weekly trading zone, only one of three things happens. 70% of the time it's this, consolidation. 20% of the time it's this, rejection. 10% of the time, the slice. That's when a 30-minute candle slices through a zone like it's not even there. When that happens and the move runs out of steam, price will typically retrace to the zone it sliced through and continue in the direction of the slice, just like it did right before your eyes. Well, it's right before your eyes now. I'm talking about when it happened. Okay. This was the open last night. Very strong. Remember, all of our traders had these targets 5 minutes before the market opened. We opened last night at 72.05, and so up to the target, that's 6 points. You only need 2 points to get your goal for the day. Then we ran into the zone 72.14/72.15. We began to consolidate sideways, and then blue and climbing got directly above price. Now, notice that the step line crossed and we got the pull back to the BBC. And the pullback held, and it held, and it held, and it held, and then finally it gave way. So in the first few minutes of trade last night, we hit the long target, and then just ahead of the London Open, we hit the short target. When the market finds resistance, it's going to go look for support. When the market finds support, it's going to go look for resistance. And when it finds resistance, it's going to go look for support, which will send it looking for resistance, which will send it looking for support. It's just how markets work. So on the ES, it's an easy read. We hit the long target, we hit the short target multiple times. Either one of those moves would have been more than sufficient to get you your goal for the day. Now, we've got two more zones below us on the ES. 71.15, and the lowest zone for the week is 70.15. Okay. So we're still okay. Right now we're consolidating at this zone, 71.56/57. Now to give you an idea of how weak the market is, this big leg down, you know that the market moves in legs. Leg retracement, leg retracement, leg retracement. The fact that we weren't able to pull all the way back to the BBC or fully revert to the mean, in this case, is a sign of weakness. And the zones that were published yesterday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern are hard at work, providing support, providing resistance. Remember, we had a slice. When it ran out of steam, found support, it retraced right back to the zone it sliced through and then continued in the direction of the slice. If we take out this low right here, $71.46.25, where are we headed? Now the current low, as you can see, now remember this is Tuesday, this is Monday, back here is Friday, okay? So market structure tells us to look for support right there at that low. First it told us to look for support at that low, and we got it right there. See it? That's market structure, okay? So once we take out the current low, the next area for support, 71.45. After that, 71.41.5. Then 71.35.5. And then right here, where red turned to blue, 71.34. Then 71.21.5. Then 71.23.25. And then you're at the zone. Remember, we only have two more zones below us. Okay. So we will probably hit that 24% fib retracement I showed you on the daily chart and catch a bounce. Probably this week. The Dow. Remember, the Dow was the only one positive. The other three major indices were in the red when I gave you the numbers from around the world. Okay, looks like that story's changing pretty quick here. This is where we opened last night. We got that same strong move up off the open. That's enough to get your goal for the day. Then we consolidated along the zone. And then we made a leg and a retracement, and we hit the long target, which was simply based off yesterday's high. Knowing where to anticipate potential resistance and potential support is critical to you learning how to trade for a living. This is why I spend so much time talking about it every day. When the market finds resistance, what's it going to do? It's going to go look for support. And where did it find it? Well, the pullback to the BBC held. You're like, well, no, it poked through and touched the weekly trading zone. Yeah, it did. But those candles are still touching the green line. So leg retracement, the pullback held. Leg retracement, pullback didn't hold. So even though, now look at this leg up, the pullback held, and we're moving lower. A pullback holds more often than not, but eventually it's going to trade through. Again, it's just how markets work. Now, once we take out the low of the current candle, I would suggest that 49,300 down to the zone, that would be a very nice trade opportunity. Now, this area I drew in yesterday, we never got down there, but that area will remain valid for a day, for a week, for a month, for a year, until price gets there. Okay? A window of opportunity doesn't go away until it's filled or triggered and failed. So this window of opportunity right here, you got to wait for price to get down to like 49,300 and then short it down to like 49,265. Call it 270. It's 30 points. Okay? Only need 20 points to get your goal for the day. So we consolidated at the zone, almost hit the long target, pulled back, nailed it, pulled back to the BBC, nailed it again. And we haven't quite hit the short target yet. We found support here at the zone. We spiked it a little bit. We came really close. What was the low here? The low was 237 and the target's at 2.25. And we may still see it today. Remember, we got to take out the low of this candle. And then I want price to get below the body of these two candles. And here you just got clear skies. Now the market could turn around before that happens. But once price reaches the top of the window, the probability of it reaching the bottom of the window is extremely high. And remember, this guy is going to remain good, valid, until filled, whether it's a day from now or a year from now. The Russell. Strong open last night. We hit the long target in the first 30-minute candle. We opened at, we'll call it 2,800, and it ran up 5 points to the target. You only need 2 points to get your goal for the day. We consolidated at the long target and then made a run at the zone overhead. Just barely missed it. But that's a sign of weakness because we didn't hit it and we didn't take out yesterday's high. And the rest, well, starts to make a little bit of sense when you understand that important factor regarding market structure. So the pullback held, and it held till it didn't hold. And then we got within inches of the short target. Buyers came in a little bit early, drove us back up to the BBC. Price always reverts to the mean. The pullback held, and down we go. The zone held, sent us all the way back up to the zone overhead. You see how we spiked the BBC? But the pullback held, because even though we spiked way up to here, it's still touching the green line. So the pullback held. And so you wait for it to come out of that. And then jumping in here, 27.71. Even if you didn't want to trade it all the way to the zone, the low right here is 27.66. 5 points. All you need is 2 points to get your goal for the day. The NQ. Strong open, hit the long target right off the open, the first 30-minute candle, which was based off this high from yesterday. Consolidated at the long target. Now again, all of our traders had these targets 5 minutes before the market opened. Resistance sends the market looking for support. We got below the BBC and the pullback held and sent us right down to the short target. Now, this one candle right here opened at 392 and dropped basically 30 points. At $20 a point, that's $600 per contract traded in that one red candle. Then we hit the zone, which we expect to be support until proven otherwise. That dropped us to the next zone, and we overshot the zone. And on the retracement, we didn't quite get all the way back to the BBC, which is a sign of weakness. And well, you can see where we're at. Now the low right here, you see this bullish cross, that's when the blue line gets above the green line and leads to an extended move. The first time price revisits that area will almost always be good support. Now look at the crosshair, the red crosshair. I'm going back Tuesday, Monday, Friday. Friday we had a bullish cross right here. And that tells us that when price revisits that area, it's going to be good support. 8 times out of 10. Is that not good support? It's good enough for me. Now price is trying to work its way back up to the zone, possibly the BBC. Now the second time down, it may trade through. But the first time, it's one of the most reliable bits of market structure that I can teach you. Crude oil. Yep. WTI crude broke above $100 today. This was the open last night, and by midnight we hit the long target. Continued on up. Is that the highest weekly zone? No. The highest weekly zone's up at $108. We pulled back to the BBC and the pullback held, but we bounced into resistance, the zone in red and falling. So right now price is pinched between support at the BBC and resistance at red and falling. There will be a winner. I just don't know which way. It's got to be patient. If we start to trade lower, just remember you've got potential support right here. Taking that into consideration, here's a nice little window of opportunity right there. We'll call it 98.65 down to 98.30. It's $350 per contract traded from the top of the window to the bottom of the window. Okay. Oh, it's painful to even look at this chart. Here's where we opened on gold last night. We made it up to the zone, but we couldn't make it to the target. Resistance. Remember, with the zones, when we rally up to a zone, over here we had support at the zone yesterday. We rallied up to the zone and found resistance. Well, then we dropped and found support for hours. And then we dropped to the next zone and consolidated. Now, finally, gold looks like it wants to try to turn around. I hope it's not just being a tease. The pullback holds more often than not. However, the more blue and climbing you have chasing price, the better the chance that price will actually trade through. I'm thinking we need to go back up here where we had the bearish cross. That would make my day. I just don't know that there's anything out there to support it until we get the word from the Fed tomorrow. And last but not least, silver. Last night, strong open, hit the long target, which was simply based off these highs from yesterday. Resistance sends the market looking for support, which it found at the zone. We got a little bounce, and then we came down to the next zone where we consolidated, pulled back to the VBC held, supported the zone held, pulled back to the VBC held, but now we got quite a bit of blue and climbing chasing price, so just maybe we'll trade through the VBC this time. We can only hope. All right, Michael's here. He's going to give us a recap of what happened in the live training room this morning and do a little live trading.
Yes.
And for those of you on the YouTube channel, if you lost connection, I apologize. I just noticed that it had disconnected. It does that sometimes. Text me and I'll fix it. All right. Michael, it looks good, so you're ready to go.
All right, here we go then. Let's start here. All right, good afternoon, everyone. Today is Tuesday, the 28th day of April, 2026. Now, if you have not taken a free trial with us and you want to, go here to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button. There's no credit card required for the trial. Click on that purple button. It's going to bring you to this registration page where all that we ask for is your name, your email, and your phone number. All right, your name, email, and phone number. Give us all that, and then down at the very bottom gives you TradingView login ID. This will allow us to enable the tools to work on your desktop. Okay, you get the indicators indicating on your desktop if you give us that. Make sure you give us the right thing. Okay, if you give us the wrong thing, it's just a bunch of back and forth before you get anything working. It's really a simple process to get the right thing. Really, if you don't know what it is, you just got to go here and hover over this. This is logged in for me, logged into CFRN. Yours might be right here. Just hover over it and it says what you're logged in as. That's what I need. Okay. Okay. So today started off really good. And it was really good right up until the 1/3 way, probably. Anyway, if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. It was much better than yesterday. Okay, not as good as the day before that, but about half as good as the day before that, but much better than yesterday. Today, the 28th day of April 2026, we made 119 ticks on the NQ. We lost 15 on the Russell. We made 37 on the YM and 5 on the ESA. I just realized that Friday is the 1st. So this is how we're going to end the month right here. This is how we end the month, because I am not going to be doing another session in the morning to add on to this month. So this is how we end the month of April. Today we were up $767 on the ES, and it took just 7 minutes and 1 trade to get to the goal for the day. That was a big trade on the NQ. We're up $2,400 at that time, or 240 with 1 contract. Let me just make sure. I thought I did that right this morning. 48 times 5. Yeah, I did it. Okay. Today we took 16 trades with 2 stop outs. Well, I didn't realize 16 trades. That's tied for the least amount this month. It seemed like, I mean, most of those trades were right in the first half hour. You know, we had 9 trades in the first half hour and then 5 in the next hour and a half. Just doesn't seem right. But we had 2 stop outs, and that puts us at 87.5%. So we're going to end the month of April with $12,747 over 16 trading days, averaging $796 per contract for 2-hour trading day. That's the lowest month we've had since July of last year. Actually, it's even lower than July last year. July last year averaged 800 something. I don't know how low it is. I mean, I don't know how far back it goes. But anyway, we are now on the year at $79,052 over 70 trading days, averaging $1,129 per contract per 2-hour trading day. Now, the 24/20 blueprint, if you were to quit trading when you got the goal for the day and add 1 contract per month, so far this year, 9.5 hours, and you did everything exactly like I did. And we just hit that number today. That's enough to get to the next contract. All right, we just hit that today. So on the last trading day of the month for me, we just barely made enough to get to the next contract. That's the first time we've ever been that close. And to be 4 contracts times 2,000. So we had to have $8,000 total quitting when we got the gold to be able to go to the next contract. And we just made it today. All right. Well, hopefully everything's going to pick up here pretty soon. But anyway, if you did everything just like me, had the same slippage and everything else, you would be at $25,745 so far this year, averaging $2,705 per contract. Okay. Now, hopefully we'll have some more trades in here today. Yesterday and the day before yesterday, we ended up with just 1 trade. So we can hope that we'll get more trades in here today. Let me just update this stuff right now. This is going to be for 28. And I don't know what the total number is going to be, but we'll carry this down. Copy, paste, and we'll carry this down. Copy, paste, and I'll make this an 87. All right. So anyway, that's where we are on the day, the month, and the year. Okay, so let's get into the actual trades. Let's see, on the Russell today. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trades with 1 stop out. That's funny. I don't have that many listed. What the heck, man? This is today, right? This is the Russell. We had 1. Right here, we picked up 10. Am I looking at the wrong sheet? Oh, that's the right sheet. Okay, I don't know why, but I stopped writing down the Russell trades. So we probably had an even better day than this. Because on the Russell, I showed the first one. I didn't even show the stop out. What the heck? Well, anyway, I showed the first trade. We picked up 10 ticks. The next trade I have written down, we lost. We stopped out minus 25. So I'm just showing these 2 right here. I'm showing those 2 trades. I didn't write down those 3 trades for some reason. Wow, what was I up to? Well, I'll have to go and figure out what they were. Do that. Hang on. Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to bother with it. They looked like they were all pretty good trades. But I showed this one where we picked up 10 ticks, and then this one we stopped out, and that put us at minus 15. Why did I not write down those 3 trades on the Russell? Maybe I wrote them down somewhere else. Maybe that's it. Well, I don't know. Let's look at the other markets. I'm showing that I ended up with minus 15 on the Russell. And the YM, we were able to do some teaching this morning. On the YM, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trades. Okay, so I have all 5 of these trades. First trade on the YM, we picked up 5 ticks, then we picked up another 5 ticks to get us to 10, then we got 7 ticks to get us to 17. Then right in here, we got 10 ticks to get us to 27. And then over here, we got another 10 ticks to get us to 37. That was it for the YM. Oh, that's really off about the Russell. Okay, and the ES. Okay, I show all those trades on the ES. So I drew this in here this morning saying that this is what the market was doing. And you can see that it did eventually do all that stuff. This was the stuff I could see in the DOM. You could see on the upside it was trying to get up to that number, on the downside trying to get to that number. And it did eventually do all that stuff. But our first trade on the ES, we picked up 4 ticks. Then we picked up another 4 ticks. That got us to 8. Then we picked up 6 ticks. Got us to 14. Then 1 that got us to 15. And then we stopped out. And that got us down to 5. And that was it on the ES for us today. Okay. And the NQ. They have a handful of trades on the NQ. They all are. First one, we picked up 48 ticks. Great trade. The next one, we picked up 49 ticks. Another great trade. Next one, we should have had a lot more, but we only got 12 ticks, got us up to 109. And then that one, we got 10 ticks, got us to 119. But the NQ was having good follow through today from the trade indications. You know, the first 2 were full target. That one and that one was full target. This could have been full target. This could have been full target. And they all could have been full target, it looks like. And that was it for the NQ. And that was our whole morning session. So I missed those 3 positive trades on the Russell. I don't know what I got on those. I'll go back and look. I just don't feel like doing it right now. So do we have any trades triggering right at the moment? We almost have one here. We almost have one here. So let me get my DOMs ready. The ES could take a trade. The ES gave the down close right here. They pulled out of the overbought and gave a down close. It's not exactly off the midpoint right there. It didn't exactly hit the midpoint. Now the Russell just needs an up close here. Okay, the Russell needs an up close to have a trade. It's below here, 60.6. So it would be 62.6 is what you'd be buying on the Russell. And the YM needs to hit the mid-band and give a down close. The NQ needs 2 up closes followed by a down close. Okay, the ES here, +1 on that. And we're out with +1. All right, so we're at the same place we were yesterday when we finished. Okay. Still looking for the up close on the Russell. We got 1 tick right there on the ES, so let's go add that in before I forget. That is right here. 1 on ES. That becomes 1. That becomes 0. And this, we have 18 minutes of trading left. Okay, so let's get back in there. Again, if you have not taken a free trial with us, all you need to do is go to mytradingiq.com, mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button, no credit card required. That is all you need to do there. This up close here on the Russell is a long trade. While that's given a long trade, the ES didn't continue the trend down here, didn't complete the cycle. The NQ is too far away from the midpoint. The YM is almost given a short trade. Okay. I hate it when that happens, when they have opposite directions right beside each other. It's never a good feeling. Let me bring up the question box and see if there are any questions out there for me yet. What is my ATM for the NQ? ATM for the NQ. I'm not sure what you mean there, Bart. Right now, the NQ is too far away to have a short right here. If he gives a down close, it'll come out of the overbought, but it won't hit the mid-band. So we're not going to have anything there on the NQ. The ES is nothing because it didn't complete the cycle on this one. I can't lose my voice now. So we wait. Now the YM could have a trade. buy that is 41, so you'd be selling 21 on that. Nothing on the ES, nothing on the NQ. All three of these are in the red. This one and this one. They both put in a little bit higher swings. Actually, the ES didn't put it in yet. So the market's really weak and sideways right now. What are my stops on the NQ? My stop is 36 ticks. 36 ticks, partner. I have 36. I think it's a 36 by 50 bracket on that. Yep, 36 by 50 is what the bracket is on that one. Okay. 36 by 50. Hey, that was something I was thinking of. So it looks like the Russell might stop us out here. Okay, but the NQ is about to trigger in. All right, there's the NQ trigger, not the NQ, the YM is about to trigger in. And the Russell is about to stop us out. And the ES didn't give a trade. And the NQ didn't give a trade. So what I'm afraid of here is that this is going to be just enough to stop us out, and this is going to be just enough to enter us in and then stop us out. That's what I'm afraid of. We'll see. Here's the YM. Here's the Russell. Okay, the YM needs to go 10 ticks into profit to bump the stop to +5. It's got numbers down here that it seems like it wants to get down to, and this has got numbers right here, a big run in numbers right here going all the way back up into profit. So we have 2 trades going. We have 13 minutes left. Trades going in opposite directions and 13 minutes left. Let's see how this plays out. It looks like the YM is gonna get to the point where we can take some profit. Almost. I mean, I could have just taken profit, but I'm going to let it go and do what it has to do. I'm just going to leave it alone and let it go. Leave them both alone. Let them both go. All right. It's so close to bumping the stop right now. It should go down to 304 right now, the YM. It just bumped it. Now it should go a little bit further, down to 304. It feels like something's just going to make a big movement here at some point. There it goes. So we'll lock in 10 on that. All right, with 10 on the YM. Oops. All right, with 10 on the YM. And we're still struggling with the Russell over here. I think that's going to stop us out. We're going to end up with minus 25 on the Russell. Nothing else has given us a trade yet, though. It's slow, painful. It's a 36 tick stop on this guy over here. That's going to get us. All right. So in this session, now we had 2 more trades with 1 stop out. And now on the NQ, we have nothing. On the Russell, we have minus 25. On the YM, we have plus 10. Okay, so we are negative right now, minus 625 total. Right now, and we'll see how much time we have left. More trades. Okay, the YM did make it all the way down there, but it gave us 10 ticks of profit. The Russell did eventually stop us out and not give us any profit. It never really went into the green. The Russell didn't. So everything has gone full cycle now. We've gone from here all the way down, from here all the way down. Well, This hasn't gone full cycle yet, but these two have. So we can look for pullbacks now on the NQ and on the ES. Okay, that last ES short that we took, I think it was a short right back here. Right here, this was a short that we took. We took one tick there. If we would have left it on, it would have eventually stopped us out right here. All right, so I'm glad we took the one tick in profit. And now it's gotten full cycle without putting in a lower swing, right? So at least got the equal swing when it went full cycle. And down close on the NQ right now is going to be a short. If we get the down close on this bar, it'll be a short on the NQ. Okay. And so we'll be looking for that here in just a minute. We have 9 minutes left. There it is. There it is. And now we wait. And there it's almost to the point where it's going to bump it. Almost. It's got to get down to 54 right here. Looks like it's going to go down to 47.50, but it's going to get down to 54 right here and bump the stop to +10. So we still have quite a bit of time to trade left here. You know, in an active market, 8 minutes left could be 10 more trades. So if things start to pick up, then we could have more trades here. We've been going for less than 18 minutes. We'll be going for 18 minutes total, and this is our 4th trade, which is better than the morning. Rate of trade. This is not a trade here. It's going to go up into the overbought and then come back down out of it. Okay, but it could be a trade. Could turn into something. NQ was really close to giving us that +10 a second ago. It's going to go now, though. I think we're going to hit. There it is. There it is. That's +10. I want to go to +12 on it. There, I'll go to +12. Now I'll go to plus more than 12. That was 16 right there. Okay, well, 16 gets us positive on the session. So let's go put that in here. 16 on the NQ. 175. Okay, this is now a 4. It's up $175 now. Okay. It's still a green session. Now this should go down to the prior swing low right here. It should go further than that. What it really should do is go this far. It should go from here down to there. Okay, that far. Right, so we stopped that on that one. We got a little bit on that one. Got a little bit on this one. And we got a bit on that one. All right, so we're positive. And now we have 5.5 minutes left. Let's see if we get another trade. We could have another one here on the NQ. I don't like that it didn't put in a lower swing right here. But it's about to get into the overbought and give us another opportunity. If it goes straight up and closes up from here, then it's not going to be a trade because it's not going to be, it'll be too far away. Okay, so for this to work, it's going to go down a little bit before it closes up. That's the only way that's going to work. Same thing with the ES right now. Do you see what I mean? It's an 8-tick range bar, right? It's a 7-tick range bar. If it goes 7 ticks up right now, it's going to be too far away on the next bar to get to the midpoint. So it's got to go down, hit the midpoint, then close up at the top to get this into the overbought, then close back down, and that would be below the midpoint if it closes back down that way. You guys see what I mean? You can see all this stuff. You can figure it all out ahead of time, what it's got to do. And then if it does it, you take the trade. If this closes up, there's not going to be a trade. If this closes up, there's not going to be a trade. Okay, it's got to go down before it closes up. It's got to get below, a little bit lower before it closes up. So that's everyone, anyone, Nate. There's a chance on the NQ because this low is equal to that high. So it's going to put the midpoint right about here when it straightens out. So there's a chance on the NQ. But if the S closes up, there's no chance on that one. And it's got to close up, but it's got to go down first before it does close up. And I don't think this can. Yeah, it can. You can go down one tick. Actually, 2 ticks. You can go down 2 more ticks. And that would be enough. So that's what we're waiting for. And we now have 3.5 minutes. And today is Tuesday, but I have all the normal Wednesday stuff today. So, got all that going on. Charles Schwab. All right, that one's out. This one's going to be out too. There's no way we're going to have trades on them. So now what has to happen? It's just not going to, none of these things are going to give us trades here. Let's go look at what's going on, big picture. Okay, let's go a little bit further. Bigger picture. UPS has had a big day. This is the ES daily. Okay, it's coming off the low of the day right here. This is the XRP. You don't really care about that one. So this is the big deal right here. Now, we were looking for it to get all the way down here to the BBC at some point. It is not there. This is going to flip the YBR. This is going to flip the YBR. So we might end up with long trades on both of those. We only have a minute and a half left, but we could end up with a long trade on either one of those right now. In the afternoon. Could be buying into the afternoon here. We'll see.
So how'd it go?
Well, we're back positive.
Well, that's good.
We had one stop out, but we got back. We had a stop out on the Russell, but we're up 16 on the NQ, 10 on the YM, and 1 on the ES. I don't think we're going to end up with any more trades, though, the way it looks. It would have to be on the NQ right now. We just flipped the YBR. We just flipped it on the NQ. And the NQ is the only one that in the 1 minute we have left that could pull back, give us a trade, and get us close out the trade.
When I did the numbers from around the world earlier, the Dow was the only one in the green. But by the time I got to the Dow chart, it was in the red. But my last glance across the markets looked like some of them were showing some signs of trying to turn around, even gold and silver. So we'll see.
Yep, we'll see.
Inflation, again, is the big buzzword. The United Arab Emirates is dropping out of OPEC. Friday's their last day. Yeah. That's got heads spinning all over the Middle East.
That's interesting. I wonder if they're going to team up with the U.S. now.
I don't know.
Because we don't really need their oil. Nope. That's all they got.
Yep.
They don't have any other product.
And a lot of bed sheets.
Yeah. Tourism. All right, well, it's time. So let me just go in here and make sure I got everything right. We had 16 on the NQ, minus 25 on the Russell, plus 10 on the YM. +1 on the yes, 4 trades, 1 stop out, 18 minutes. So 75% of our trades today were break even or better. We're up $175. So it's a green day, not a big green day, but a little green day. Following in this session, we're averaging 15.65 minutes per session. That's 15.65 minutes of trading per session. And in those 15.65 minutes, we're averaging $122 with 1 contract. All right. So you could trade 15 minutes, make $122. If you don't go into the morning session with us, everything that I just did in here in this session was easy enough for everybody to do with me. It wasn't really fast, and it was easy enough. And everything just automatically went. The stops went. Everything went automatically. The only thing I did extra was take a little bit extra on this NQ trade. Right, and I bumped that to +1 tick, and I bumped that after it went to +10. I added the extra 6.
Let me share this with you real quick. I mean, I can go ahead and take the charts back if you want, or do you just want to hear this for a minute? It'll just take 2 minutes. You got 2 minutes?
Yeah, but let me just finish this bit.
Okay, go ahead.
If you haven't taken a free trial, let's go here to mytradingiq.com. Click on the purple button. No credit card required. When you click on that, it's going to bring you to the registration page. Just fill out the registration page. Okay, your turn.
Okay, and by the way, if he hasn't mentioned it, Michael's going to be out tomorrow and Thursday. So
yes, that will be out the next 2 days.
He won't be in the live training room. He won't be in the afternoon broadcast, but he'll be back in the saddle Friday morning.
Friday morning, God willing.
Okay, Meta yesterday announced a deal with startup Overview Energy. Everybody remember that name. To purchase solar power collected by satellite and beamed back to Earth. An experimental approach that could power data centers at night. Unlike traditional solar power, which relies on strong daylight, space-based solar power aims to deliver continuous energy. Overview Energy plans to deploy satellites over 22,000 miles from the Earth's equator, where they would collect and transmit infrared energy to solar panels. A test is scheduled for 2028 with a commercial rollout in 2030. Meta is seeking up to 1 gigawatt of power from the project, underscoring its energy needs for AI. In 2024, Meta's data centers consumed 18,000 times the electricity that this deal would deliver in a single hour.
Wow.
How mind-boggling is that? So my homework is to check out this Overview Energy and see if there's any way to get a piece of it. It's probably a private startup at this point.
That's like eternal sunlight.
Mm-hmm.
Harvesting.
I mean, in a whole year, this thing can deliver 18,000 times what Meta used in a whole year in a single hour. 18,000 times what they used.
I thought it was the other way around.
Now, let me read it again. In 2024, Meta's data centers consumed 18,000 times the electricity that this deal will deliver in a single hour. Okay, now you got me confused.
Yeah, think about that. It's 18,000 times what this will deliver in an hour. So this will need 18,000 hours to equal what Meta's data centers consumed. So 18,000 hours, that's
divided
years.
By 24. Right?
Yeah. Just do 18,000 divided by 24.
Hey Siri, 18,000 divided by 24.
There's 750 days.
18,000 divided by 24 is 700.
So it's 2 years.
Okay. Now, is that one satellite? Anyway, I'll study up on it, guys. I'll have more info when I come back tomorrow.
Yeah, the way they worded that is really confusing.
It is.
Okay. Well, you can take the charts back.
All right.
Okay.
I'll do it.
Now I'm going to pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Dwayne, if you are ready, there I am. Sit down.
Recap of the morning session.
That is your part, and I have to say today it took 7 minutes and 1 trade to get to $2,400.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, guys, I covered everything in granular detail as I do each and every day. If you missed any part of today's broadcast, 10 minutes after I sign off, go to youtube.com/CFRN You can watch the entire broadcast in its entirety, or you can fast forward to where Michael came on or any other part that you have an interest in. youtube.com/CFRN. It will be up and available 10 minutes after I sign off. Now, the one part I didn't get to is if you want to become a member, get a hold of Valerie. You can email her support@cfrn.net. You can call her at 949-42-EMINI. You'll probably get her voicemail, leave a message, she'll call you back. Either way, just let her know you want to become a member and she'll email you all the information you need to make a well-informed, intelligent decision as to whether or not what we do is right for you. If you choose to become a passport holder, you'll get 2 hours of live training every trading day. 9 out of 10 new traders fail simply because they don't have anyone to teach them how to trade. Now, you can buy indicators and oscillators and bots all day long on the internet, okay? And that's a whole nother discussion. But the missing part of the equation is actually having a living, breathing human being taking off trades, explaining what they're doing, and actually teaching you how to do it, okay? 2 hours of live training every trading day. On top of that, private one-on-one mentoring. No extra charge, all you got to do is ask. The strategy you learn, the indicators you use as a passport holder are fluid across all markets and all time frames. Stocks, futures, crypto, Forex, ETF, it doesn't matter. Price flows the same across all markets and all time frames. Just as I've shown you today and show you every day. From support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance, over and over again and again. It's a never-ending cycle. It's just how markets work. As a passport holder, you'll get the Logic 247 alerts around the clock. They will help you learn to read the chart. Every Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern, you'll get the weekly trading zones. Every afternoon, 5 minutes ahead of the Globex Open, you'll get the concierge trade alerts. And every Thursday night, you'll be able to attend the members-only workshop at 8 p.m. Eastern, which, by the way, there will not be a workshop this week. Last but not least, you get the golden keys that open all the private channels in Telegram, and there's quite a few. Everything a trader needs, all under one roof, one low price. Let's wrap it up with our good word for today. Rely on God, not on yourself. 2 Corinthians 1:9. As a result, we stop relying on ourselves and learn to rely only on God. Several men went on a mission trip to Haiti, where they met a 19-year-old young man who loved Christ deeply. So they invited him to visit them at home and paid for his trip. The young Haitian felt as if he were in another world. He had never slept between sheets, had 3 meals a day, used indoor plumbing, or tasted a hamburger. When it was time to return to Haiti, they asked him for his impressions of what he'd experienced, and he replied, "I have really enjoyed my time here with you. But I am also very glad to be going home. You have so much here that I'm beginning to lose my grip on my day-to-day dependency on Christ." Paul spoke of a time of trouble in Asia in which he was crushed and overwhelmed. 2 Corinthians 1:8. Then in verse 9 he writes, "As a result, we stopped relying on ourselves and learned to rely only on God." And God wants to bring you to that place also. Yes, he wants you to use the gifts and resources he has provided, but his desire is that you rely completely on him. Only then can he provide everything he desires to give you, because then you will be open, ready and mature enough to receive it. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Seek His will in all you do, and He will show you which path to take. Don't be impressed with your own wisdom. Instead, fear, which means reverence, respect, and obey the Lord. Proverbs 3:5-7. And that's our good word for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.